Rich Burkett here, your host for the Free Skeptic channel. This video is entitled Compatibilism. Could free will be conceptualized that is compatible with determinism? Free will skeptics rarely argue that humans and other willful things don't have will. By other willful things, I mean humans, animals, willful computers, willful machines. The central issue is if and how free will could be. Daniel Dennett, in multiple videos, argues free will is compatible with determinism. He conceptualizes two computer chess programs playing each other. Both programs are deterministic. How could a deterministic computer chess program be free? Free could be interpreted as awareness of possible options or possibilities. That's one. Two, the ability to choose, decide, and act among possible options. Therefore, not free is unawareness of or inability to pursue possible options. Computer chess programs are aware of their possible options, and they are, as Dennett asserts, competent in their ability to choose their moves among possible options. Skeptics could ask, how could a deterministic computer program have chosen otherwise? Then it adds limits to how much time or computation a program can devote to each move, which could result in different choices. Now, I'm not sure that's really relevant to the question of how they could possibly choose otherwise. One limitation of chess is that some unchosen possible options become unavailable or impossible later in the game. Many other non-chess circumstances, unchosen, undecided, and unrealized possible options don't become unavailable, but continue to be available into the future, unless and until a constraint limits availability. Consider the either-or constraint on choice. Either option 1 or option 2, or more, could be more than two options, but this example it's easier to understand with just two options. Examples found in other YouTube videos include either chocolate or vanilla, or either M&Ms or kale. Now, I suspect that this two were chosen to suggest that you might choose the M&Ms over the more healthful option of kale. Either or implies both and neither are not possible available options. How depends on their constraints. Now, my favorite two options are chocolate and peanut. Some prefer both, that's me, or neither, and would choose both or neither if they were not constrained to just one. If both are chosen, the chooser could prefer them together or separately, at the same time or at different times. Choosers who prefer both together would also prefer Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, M&M Peanuts, Hershey Mr. Good Bars, and other chocolate-covered peanuts. Other two choice options where both could be preferred over either includes peanut butter and jelly, spaghetti sauce and noodles, ribs and barbecue sauce, French fries and ketchup, cereal and milk, cheese and hamburger, cheese and crackers, pico de gallo and tortilla chips, toast and butter, water and ice. If the lack of constraints allows two or more options to be chosen, decided or acted at different times, then the options could be chosen, decided, or acted independently. Could be. They also could be interconnected in a way that you can't do them independent of each other. But we're going to concentrate on them being able to be acted on independently. Each option could be chosen, decided, or acted now, later, or never. Never being not now or not later. Okay, and These three options are mutually exclusive. You can't choose two of the three options. That is, you can't choose now or later and later. You can't choose now and never. You can't choose later and never. Those are all mutually exclusive. Now, the corollaries to these three options are not now, which is equivalent to later or never, not later, which is equivalent to now or never, not never, which is equivalent to now or later. Now, two or more options could be chosen, both or all now, both or all later, both or all never. One could be now and one could be later. One could be now, one could be never. One could be later and one could be never. And then the eighth option I added in was one later and one more later. So there are two laters at different times. The later, never, and not now choices and decisions could be modified later to a different choice, decision, or action, unless an option is precluded by constraint. How could someone have chosen otherwise? At the time of the original first choice, someone could choose both unless a constraint makes the both choice unavailable or impossible. After the first choice, the second choice could only be chosen now in the present or later in the future. If constraints don't prevent the second choice now or later, then my answer would be, someone could now or later choose otherwise. What can't be undone is the first choice in the past, because the past can't be changed as if it never happened. Now, you don't have to be a compatibilist to believe the past can't be changed. You can also don't have to be a compatibilist to believe that there's only one possible future. One actual future. There could be many possible futures, but there's only one actual future. You don't need to be a determinist to believe that. Two or more interpretations of free could be added to the first two mentioned earlier. Free, conceptualized earlier, awareness of possible options. Two, ability to choose, decide, or act among possible options. And we add two more. The ability to choose which possible options are available, including both or neither. And then number four, the ability to choose when possible options are available. That includes now, later, or never. Not free then becomes unawareness of possible options, inability to pursue possible options, and or inability to choose which and or when of possible options. Are these conceptualizations of free compatible with determinism? Conceptualize a deterministic supercomputer with artificial intelligence, algorithms for learning and pattern recognition, large memory capacity, and a fast processor. And that's the kind of computer that you will find in the fictional television series Person of Interest, one of my favorite shows. Features a supercomputer connected to every surveillance camera, tracking people 24/7 with facial recognition, predicting crimes likely to be committed, then prioritizing which predicted crimes it suggests to its human facilitators to investigate. And then there's a second movie and series called RoboCop that featured machines that detected law violations and enforced laws, often physically. Now, these two are fictional scenarios. And so, but what I want to focus on is the computer chess programs. I think that's a pretty good example. Could a deterministic computer program be programmed to, one, surveil, recognize, know, and or learn, to become aware of possible options? Yeah, a computer chess program knows this stuff. It probably just knows it now. It could have a learning algorithms in it to learn about possible moves from past games. Number two, to assess options, benefits, costs, risks, ethics, legality, utility, possibility, probability, and or attainability. Yeah, our computer chess program can do that. Number 3, to make choices and or decisions and or take action. Absolutely. Now, the action it could take would be just merely communicating to whoever's controlling their program of their moves. It could be, then it had a third program between the two competing computer chess programs that did all this automatically, or you could have a human actually working two different programs and then manually entering what the other program suggested. So yeah, computers can take action. It may not be, and you know, they have even computer games now where you have a chessboard where the pieces are magnetic and the computer can literally move the pieces around. Now I don't know what it does when you actually take a piece, how it gets rid of that piece off the board. That could be a problem for a computer program to do that. Okay. Someone or willful thing could observe and learn about others' choices, decisions, and their actions and their consequences. Okay. If someone makes a choice or decision or takes action, then others similarly situated and unconstrained possibly could too. This is how we learn about the awareness of options, is what options have others taken and what can I learn from that, observing that, or, okay. Okay, then number 3. If someone is or becomes similarly situated and or constrained, then the probability of a preferred outcome is greater, but not necessarily 100. It could be 100, but not necessarily. There might be other reasons why it's not. I won't go into that. I'll let you think about that yourself. Okay. If someone or willful thing is able to, 1, observe, learn about, or become aware of possible options, 2, assess the benefits and cost of possible options, and 3, assess its own willingness to choose, decide, or act now, later, or never. 4, accumulate knowledge, skills, talents, influence, money, and or other resources that could increase the probability of a preferred outcome. And or 5, choose, decide, or act now, later, or never. Then that someone or willful thing has free will that is compatible with determinism. Now that might be, this definition of free might be not as inclusive as libertarians or non-determinists might want it to be, but this is where I see it. Okay. Some compatibilism skeptics, okay, this is where I get into the arguments about from the skeptics, the compatibilism skeptics. Argument 1, compatibilism is compatibilists construct and constrain their definitions and concepts to those that are compatible with determinism. Well, yeah, fair enough. Compatibilists would argue that their definitions and concepts are no less valid than the skeptics' construction and constraints on their definitions and concepts that are not compatible with determinism. It's a question of semantics, I think. There are meanings and definitions and that kind of stuff. Argument number 2, some compatibilists would argue, skeptics would argue, compatibilism does not imply or prove free will actually exists. True, but compatibilism implies that free will is possible and or not precluded nor constrained by determinism. Might be other constraints or other reasons. Okay, argument 3. Compatibilists and free will proponents don't know or can't know the origins of, the where and how of consciousness, thought, and agency. I assert, and others could assert that consciousness, thought, and agency could be part of the autonomic nervous system that also regulates breathing, digestion, heart rhythm, and more. It includes the regulating body temperature. Daniel Dennett asserts free will is about biology, not physics. Am I a compatibilist or a libertarian? I guess it depends on how I feel about determinism. I definitely believe that free will exists in some form, as I've mentioned before. But I'm skeptical and not convinced of hard determinism, what I call omnideterminism, that is the determinism of everything, or neurodeterminism, that is the determinism of the brain and the nervous system. At least not yet. My next videos will be titled Evidence of Free Will and Loss of Free Will and Counterfactual Games. Please comment, like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell.